We're good.
A couple late nights.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, we can look at two.
Oh,
Oh, no
okay,
kidding.
okay.
It's better when people aren't official.
Hereby call the City Council regular meeting for Tuesday, February 11th, 2025 to order. First thing we have is a roll call.
Yeah, we do that
Roll call.
first. Yeah, sure, let's do that first. Councilmember Shavens,
Present.
Councilmember Sander,
Present.
Councilmember Van Hees,
Here.
Councilmember Beasy, and Mayor Pro Tem Pollard.
Here.
Excellent.
Let the record reflect we have a quorum. Next is the Pledge of Allegiance. Kyle, do you want to lead?
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item is approval of the meeting agenda. Are there any items that the council would like to add or remove from the agenda for tonight? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
I'll second.
Having a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's unanimous approval of tonight's agenda. Local agency reports and presentations. Do we have the fire department or sheriff's department?
No presentation scheduled tonight.
No local presentations. Any other presentations? No other presentations. Did we receive any public comments concerning action items on tonight's agenda? Okay, just going pretty quick. Executive session if necessary. Brian, do we have an exec session?
I won't slow you down.
Okay. Action items for first reading, traffic calming on Empire Avenue. Is this Kyle?
Oh, I'll slow you down. So you guys got the papers on your desk, just a re-up diagram of our two choices between the double hump with the crosswalk in the middle or the tabletop hump with the crosswalk on top that we talked about last month. So I went to Diamond Paving that has done some patchwork for us and built a little bit of a relationship with in the last couple of years anyway, since I've been in charge. And this is kind of out of the norm. It's not their normal paving. It's kind of a custom thing that not a whole lot of people have done yet. And it's not something that they can just take their paver and do, you know, you're kind of like hand forming these things because of the abrupt angles and stuff, you know. So they put some numbers together. You can see them in front of you for, they have about a $1,200 mobilization fee per time. And that's the same, doesn't matter if you're doing the tabletop or the double hump. It looked like the double hump was a little bit more money at about $8,600. And then if you go down, there is the warning signage and the paint for the advanced warning coming up to it. The warning signage was about $3,000 and the paint was about $3,000. Paint and warning signage was about $3,000 for the double hump and about $2,700 for the single tabletop hump. So I just kind of quickly added those together, and it looks like you're right about just under $1,300 or $13,000 to do a double hump, and about $1,000 less to do a tabletop hump. So they're relatively the same price. It's kind of up to you guys which one you want to do. Kevin gave me his 2 cents, thinking that if we did the double hump with the crosswalk in the middle, it might be labeled the gauntlet of death or something because you got a crosswalk in the middle of the two humps. I don't know if I agree with that, but it's ultimately up to you guys which one you want to try and pursue.
I think the double hump is the way to go.
Okay.
I watched more videos just today. I watched more. Again, I'm kinda stuck on watching them. And I think having the crosswalk in the middle, cause cars are already stopped, they're already slowing, they're already,
Right.
so I think you put the crosswalk in the middle and do the double hump, I think that's the way to go.
And part of the advanced warning sign is, I think, Matt Gillis had just sent this to me the other day. It's basically gonna just have, on a singular post, it'll say speed hump, and then they actually are recommending slowing down to 15 miles an hour
Yeah.
anyway for the double hump, so,
Yeah,
I mean,
so I think that's one we pursue.
I agree with that. This is for Empire right over here?
yeah, so we'd put
Cross.
the first one about midway through the Arboretum where the Marigini Batson sign's at. And that would, cut, kill two birds with one stone. We get our bicycle and pedestrian traffic to the north side of the road where it needs to be before we run out of right-of-way space. And it'll be our first implementation of
Yeah.
fairly extreme traffic calming measures, in my opinion, you know?
I like it.
I like the humps. As I think I make clear, I'd like more speed humps. Right? So let's start here. I like the price. I think, let's be consistent, right? So, yeah, I'm in favor. What do you think, Dan?
I definitely think we need to do it. I'm concerned about, we have identified a number of places to put them, But definitely down here is the no-brainer. We need to have something there to get people from the south side to the north side.
And like I said, I mean,
Or
this is
vice
gonna be
versa.
kind of an experimentation, I mean, people don't have any choice but to slow down for them, so we know it's gonna
Yeah.
work. It's just, how they're received, I guess. from-
So I think putting it away from residential houses, that way if whatever happens, away from houses.
Right.
No, I looked at your map, I looked at the placement of them, I think the double speed hump is the way to go.
Sean, hold on. Does Shauna, do you have anything to ask Kyle or comment?
So the other thing that I think, I see this in Hawaii quite often. So they have big speed humps. But sometimes what they do is they just paint it. So you think there's a speed hump.
Yeah, so you hit them with one, and then your eye sees it, and then later on.
sees it. There's no speed hump, but you slow down. That's gonna save us lots of money. So let's start doing the speed humps and let's think about painting some too, right? Let's do some fake ones.
It'll work at least the first couple of times somebody else. is-
And I think that it might be effective. So, yeah.
And then, also you mentioned wanting to look into a raised intersection that's controlled. So it'd be an abrupt raise, not kind of like what we have up there at Fowler and and that's what the other sheet is. And it looked like about the same thing, $1,400 for Moban. And I went up, Matt and I actually went up and measured out the whole mouth of the intersection of Fowler and Empire. And they gave them those dimensions, everything, and they came up with about 15.6 to do one of those. Now that would be same as the overall elevation rise as a speed hump. It'd be 4 inches of elevation gain, but obviously instead of over a 6-foot ramp, since it's a controlled stop, you're gonna be able to shorten that up significantly. I'm thinking, we haven't pinpointed an exact slope yet, but I'm thinking just a matter of inches. Cause theoretically, you're coming to a stop anyway, or already at a stop, if we put it just in front of the stop bar,
Do you think it would be, better received if it was concrete?
I think it'd be more costly.
You think so?
What do you
I
do-
just think
what do you
that-
do on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. I just see asphalt, it looks like asphalt. You break it up with, and you have a raised intersection that's concrete. It's gonna look more abrasive than it is.
Yeah. I mean, I can just for the heck of it, try
Yeah,
to
would
get a
you-
cost on what it'd be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And I think longevity wise,
Right.
it's gonna be, you won't have to replace it as often.
Yeah.
Or fix it as often, but then again, if we're gonna do something later on, it's gonna be more to remove it, to do something
What
else.
about snow plows? What if we chip it? Does that come?
You're not gonna chip it.
And it'd be the same as the, you know, it'd be advanced paint warnings and
Yeah.
I would imagine maybe paint on the slope up and stuff, so I mean, it's still
And I
gonna,
don't think it would be, I think it'd be a continuous pour. I don't think it would be, you wouldn't have mastic separating the ramp from the tabletop. It would be
right?
one monolithic pours, it'd be one piece,
Okay.
which is gonna be harder to hurt too.
Dan, did you have a?
So, question for Debbie, how can we do this in our budget?
Well, an amendment, yeah. We have, traffic calming up there on Empire in the budget. So if you're gonna start looking at multiple pours and pouring concrete, it's probably gonna get up there fast.
Yeah,
So, with what we have budgeted, I think we can get in the 2 speed humps and the
the tabletop asphalt.
the crack seal and
Chip
the.
seal.
Oh,
Thank you, I couldn't think of the name, you know the name? The chip
seal
seal
on
and the striping and stuff, we're gonna be about that.
So,
Yeah.
did we figure out if we could use REIT funds for these, if we got them in the TIB or some other plan?
Probably not,
Okay.
yeah. I
I
don't
think that's what
can
you said
use it
last
for-
time. I
Yeah.
almost forgot.
No,
Why can't we?
I mean, we can certainly, why?
Yeah.
Because it's a traffic, well, it's for capital projects that are identified in your improvement plan. And I don't know that
Streets would qualify for that.
streets does. We could use part of 301 for our shortfall on this. So, that's probably a better use for the money.
Okay.
So it sounds like we can start with,
I would say at this
Double
point,
humps.
don't worry
Yeah,
about
we
getting a
can
price on
start with the
concrete.
double
It's
hump
gonna be
and the
more.
crack seal and the.
But down the road,
Striping.
if we go to replace or if it's not as effective, maybe that's when we look at.
And I was thinking mainly, cause I mean, the chip seal and the lane narrowing and restriping is going to happen
Yeah.
in the spring. I was just trying to get confirmation from you guys on if we can implement at least a double speed hump at the same time,
Yeah,
you know, do it all at the same time and be done with it, see how it goes for at least a season or a year or
Yeah.
whatever, and then go from there with the next budget cycle, you know?
Yeah.
so do we need to go out for additional bids, or is this under the threshold for award?
Oh, it looks better if you get.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
it's like, we can,
I would.
yeah.
But the,
I mean, but this gives us an idea of what we'll have to spend.
and it's not that as bad as I was imagining.
Yeah, and it is actually, I mean, Matt's estimate was actually fairly close to 20 grand, you know?
Exactly.
I mean, it came in under, which is good,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
yes,
Thanks, Kyle.
So then I guess next month, you guys will just say, go ahead and get bids and
Get
put
bids
it
and,
into
yeah.
action.
We'll try to get it done at the same time as the chip seal and paint, so everything's done at once.
Can he proceed and give bids?
Do we need a motion for him to get bids?
No, I mean, I think staff can go out and solicit bids. It would be up to you to come back to you for approval of those bids, but,
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing that would prohibit, staff from going out and procuring
Yes.
certain bids, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
thanks, Kyle. That is our one item for first reading. We are on to items for consideration. First up is the consent agenda consisting of January city council regular meeting minutes, January's treasurer's report, January claims, and January payroll. Would anybody like to take one of these items separately for consideration, or do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. And a second. Any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The consent agenda from January is approved. Ooh, next we have the ordinance 545, back up for the third time, wholesale water service. Brian, is this yours?
Yeah, I can kick it off for you. I think, we've past several months, there's been discussion, regarding, wholesale water service, by the city. In order to proceed with any sort of, substantive discussions with another party to entertain a contract or potential sale, the recommendation of the city council is that you codify the ability for the city to engage in wholesale water service. Just again, quick primer, the way that process would work is you are selling wholesale water, untreated water. It would come to you in the form of a contract. The contract terms would have to be approved in its entirety by the city council. We've codified a few key provisions in the ordinance, which would be part of the municipal code under 1311. There's no obligation to ever enter into a contract. Rates and charges would be set by the council. The contract would identify a committed volume or flow, but nonetheless, the city would regulate the use of that water if need be. And there would be a prohibition on any other public water system of otherwise reselling that water for some sort of wholesale purpose or otherwise. This is the form of the ordinance that's been before you for a couple meetings now. The one revision that was made, citizen comment that pointed out an error in section 020, which all contracts will be subject to whatever the terms of the code are. But again, reinforcing the fact that the terms of the contract would have to be approved by the city council. To be clear, there is no sale of water rights, there's no transferring of water rights, there's nothing involving water rights under this document. It's only the authorization to pursue potential buyers of wholesale untreated water.
I can start. I thought you guys had a robust discussion. I thought it was a good discussion. I think that Commissioner BC brought good points forward, but it's just one solution, right? This is the start. So let's not start with problems. Let's start with solutions, right? So I thought, Sean, you made really good points. So we only have so many connections. We could change commercial zoning, right? So we could increase commercial usage. In terms of sinks, if we're thinking about, and we have lots of lots, this is a good start to it. There could be lots of other solutions, but this just starts the game, right? But we have to make a start towards it. And so I think that it makes sense that we preserve water rights, right? And we also have the opportunity to increase future sinks, right? And so I think Commissioner Beasley is exactly correct that there could be other solutions. This is just one solution. And so I'm completely in favor of this. When we actually have a contract, we'll have our counselor look at it, council will look at it, we'll consider it. But we have to start somewhere, right? And there has to be a start point. So this is point A. Let's not go to point Z. Let's start at point A and work our way. Let's do it logically.
Yeah, I think codifying this and getting the talk on the table.
That's what I think. So I apologize, I had laryngitis again. My voice is coming back. It's the problem with having a teacher as a wife, right?
Man, I wish you were sick still. I'm sorry. I said
I've been on the phone for 12 hours, so literally this is my last conversation. I'm gonna have tea and honey after this. So I think it would be somewhat irresponsible, right? I would not feel good if we put this off longer, because we have water loss, right? We have substantial water loss. We need to get to more things.
Yeah.
So we have 12 meetings. We could do 24. If you guys want to meet twice a month, we can do that. I think that maybe that's a good option, but at least can we please pass this? We've had it lots of times. I think now is the time to say, let's move forward and just start working on it. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Kelly. Dan, did you have any comments on the, I mean, we've kind of hashed it out a few
I
times.
definitely agree with Kelly. We need to at least allow ourselves that option. Right now, we don't have that option. This is the first step.
So it's a framework to enable us to explore possibilities. It doesn't obligate the city to sell to anybody.
Yep.
And ultimately, the council controls the terms of the contracts that come to us. So, Shauna, did you have any comments on the ordinance 545 for wholesale of water? Okay.
Good.
So any further discussion on this?
No.
Hearing no further discussion, do I have a motion to approve ordinance 545 for the wholesale of water?
I make a motion to approve ordinance 545, wholesale water service.
Second.
And a second by Kelly. Any further discussion?
No, I think with the administration, everything that's going on, people need frickin' water. We gotta do what we gotta do.
So all in favor of approving ordinance 545 for the wholesale of water, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is 5-0, approved unanimously. Okay, so, Brian,
Thank you. Mayor, thanks you.
thank you, everybody. It was good to work out all those issues with that ordinance. Next up is resolution 2502, water and sewer rate resolution. And there's one typo that Dan caught in section 1. It should say charges related to the city's water system, as set forth in Exhibit A. And then I believe we're setting the effective date in sections 1 and 2 as March 1st. Is that right, Debbie?
Correct.
So those are the amendments tonight. So that would be, if we're going to approve this, it would be the resolution as amended for approval. So Debbie, are you handling this one? Or
Well, I don't have any, yeah, I mean, if anybody has questions, please ask, but,
so I think Kevin took one more.
he did.
Crack at this.
We took one more crack at it and we added another tier. Last month, I would have been a little uncomfortable with it. But adding that extra tier, I'm far more comfortable. And I think that this is a good jumping off point.
Is that the high usage tier?
Yeah,
So what Kevin had found was there's a very small number of users that use a lot of water. So he added that extra tier to capture that usage. So I don't know how that didn't really affect the rest of the tiers, but
no, it also opened up the third tier
Yes.
wider. And so it allowed for more usage where typically the data showed people were using. And then we have some large users that are over that. I actually went through and did some bills and looked it up, and one of our very large users, it would be about $9 more a month.
so we, as far as I know, we do need to approve this tonight because we're not in compliance.
No, we're not.
Because we're not self-funding that enterprise fund because we're losing money
Right.
under the old rates.
Yeah, under the old rates, we are losing money, so.
So is there any other discussion from council? Or Shauna, do you have any comments on Kevin's updated rate schedule? And one other note Kevin adds is that he added in all the fees into the schedule because we can just update the resolution the resolution yearly and adjust all of the fees and rates together as needed, so they're not in different sections of the code.
Yeah, just have a fee schedule that's consistent annually.
So it's mostly bookkeeping at that point, so. Do I have a motion? Do we have any further discussion about the minor changes Kevin made?
No, I've had this discussion with my wife. She likes a black, green lawn. And I'm like, you want it that color, it's gonna cost us. And she understands.
Yeah.
So,
You got a raise.
yeah,
You're good.
I'm sleeping in the van tonight, but that's all right. Would I make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-02
As amended.
As amended.
as amended?
Have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Kelly. Any further discussion on this topic? Hearing none, all in favor of adopting resolution 2025-02 as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did Sean say aye?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, we didn't hear you.
The audio cut out.
Get loud, Shauna.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay.
So, let's, next on the list is Welch Comer Water Capital Improvement Plan Task Order. Is this just for review, or, the only question I had on this is,
I think this was previously presented.
Yeah, it was last
Yeah.
one. So that was, it's the same one.
No changes.
No.
Do you have a question?
actually it was about the GSI data. How much of that do we have already?
For the water system, nothing really.
Okay.
All the sewer system is.
That makes sense, okay. That was my only question. So this is up for approval this meeting. Nothing changed.
Nothing changed. It's, the city's obligated to, update its water system capital improvement plan. Is that a 7-year? Is that every 7 years?
Well, it's now 10. It
10
was
years.
6, now it's 10.
Yeah,
Or sooner,
yeah.
but go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
But I think in this case, since we have discussed about our leak problem and our piping problem, and we're looking for funding, those projects need to be identified. And we have some general language on the existing plan, but we need to specify that.
Yep.
And update it.
Yeah.
And also, I think, you know, the services, the scope here are minimum as far as what they need to do. It's not starting all over again because the book is very, very detailed. It's done a good job. So it's I hope that when we meet with Department of Health, we'd be able to discuss just a minor update.
Yeah.
And go for it. And the GIS stuff is stuff, you know, it's, I don't wanna say frosting, but it's, you know, we wouldn't have to do that part. But it'd be so much better for organizing things and especially when we get going on the construction kinds of stuff or repairs or whatever, so. I think everything's good there.
Any other comments, Shauna or Andy? Kelly?
Looks good.
Yeah, I'll just say, like Dan said, we need to update the plan so we can pursue funding on all of our water projects, so.
You know, and we should mention that, you know, we've done a pretty good job with our past water projects. They've been identified in the last plan. We've checked them off. So we've got a track record. We just need to keep going.
So do I have a motion for approval of task order number 25-01 for the water capital improvement plan update?
I make a motion to approve task order number 25-1, the water system plan capital improvement plan update.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving task order 2501, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That brings us to reports by city staff. Start with treasurer, Deb Matkin.
Nothing really to report. I've attended some meetings and the ongoing audit that is gonna rival the last one is still ongoing. So,
Nice.
that's all I have for you. Any questions about anything going on in my department?
Do we have a date that it'll be complete?
Nope.
Had a couple.
Yeah, we've had a couple. They
Yeah.
just keep.
At least you're staying busy.
Okay,
I am staying busy.
thank you.
I'd rather not be.
Okay. Clerk, Public Records and Code Enforcement, Lisa Castles.
Okay, so no public records as of late. Still have some code enforcement ones, making some headway on a few and not so much on others. And had the first Historic Preservation Commission meeting yesterday. Brian and I were at that, so they hadn't met in over a year, so that was pretty exciting. They've got trying to regroup and figure out what they were doing and what are we gonna do now kind of thing, but they've got some interesting things coming up, so we'll keep you posted on that. That's it.
Okay. Facilities, Kyle Shuey.
I'll slow you guys down again, I guess. So I got a little update on the DNR grant for the trees. A couple of weeks ago, I got the final reports done. Today, Debbie and I sat down and we completed the final invoice. So now all I have to do probably tomorrow is gather all that together with some before and after pictures and get that all sent in for the reimbursement. Last Thursday afternoon, Kevin, Amanda, and I had a Teams meeting with SRTC about upcoming projects and plans. They're starting to look ahead towards 2050 with questions like what kind of projects do the areas need to help with population growth and accommodating different modes of transportation. They also asked me to gather some annual average costs for things such as street sign maintenance and repairs, signal maintenance and repairs, seasonal road striping maintenance, and street sweeping costs. So Debbie and I sat down today and gathered that as well, and I'll be sending that all off to them tomorrow. The Argonne project went out to bid on the 30th of January. We have a pre-bid meeting tomorrow here at the town hall at 2 p.m. The bid opening is on the 20th at 2 p.m. And I was talking with Matt Gillis this afternoon. He said that from what he's seen, we have 5 bidders so far that are
good.
interested in the project, so that's good. I don't know if you guys have noticed last Wednesday and Thursday, but we had Argonne shut down to 1 lane. So this was an ongoing project for at least 2 years. It started with Paul. What it is there's an abandoned water line that goes underneath the tracks, north and south on Argonne. And it's been in the plans to use that abandoned water line as a conduit to send other conduits through so we can get power to the signals on Euclid and Empire. The problem was we didn't know if that line was totally unobstructed all the way through. And so the only way, and we didn't know exactly where it is either. We kind of got some locate marks and some ideas of where it was, but nothing really set in stone. So it had been talked about and we had a plan devised when Paul was still here. And then the project got put on hold. So because it's Argonne and Argonne sucks because of all the traffic, we just kind of swept it under the carpet and forgot about it. Well, about 3 weeks ago, one of the engineers came to me and goes, "Did you guys ever find that water line?" So I started getting everything in order because what we were going to do originally was we were going to locate the line, cut a section out of it, and have AAA send a camera down there to make sure it gets past the railroad right away and out of their area, because I guess doing a new bore underneath the railroad was going to be a huge expense and permits and all kinds of other stuff dealing with the railroad we didn't want to do. So this was an optimal thing to try and shoot for. So I had to tell them, no, we hadn't found it yet. So I promptly got on the ball and got some traffic control ordered up, figured out what our plan of attack was with AAA, and shut down the lane. Figures, because it's my luck, Mother Nature decided to have winter for those 2 days. And seeing as how we only have 2 trucks that are set up, you know, Matt's is set up for de-icing, and it's way harder to tear down. And then mine is just sanding and stuff, so over the course of 3 days, I think we switched trucks over like 4 or 5 times, tear chains off, and, you know, we'd go from plowing at night, strip them all down so we could haul off concrete, asphalt, haul in backfill dirt, gravel, and cold mix. And over those 2 days, it was some 13 to 15-hour days, but the guys and I got the deal done. We found the pipe, sent a camera down it. It goes about halfway through, about the center lane of Euclid is where it stops, and there's a valve there. That valve is closed, but when they start the project, they'll be able to excavate down, open up that valve if need be, and continue on north to the curb line or wherever they need to get to. So it was a success.
Good.
And it was, yeah, a little bit of shuffling stuff around and put on tire chains more than I really like to, but it is what it is. And that's why it was shut down for a couple days, and ended up dealing with Spokane County that had a large surplus of cold mix. Because we usually, you know, we get the occasional pothole, we have little 50-pound bags and we go out there and do our thing. But I mean, this ended up being what was it, like 6 yards? Yeah, it was like 6 yards of material
Nice.
that we put back in there because the asphalt was 6 inches thick. So they hooked us up with 6 yards of cold mix, and we hauled it over here and did our thing. And we ended up actually touching it up today because it had, from all the cars and stuff, even though I compacted the heck out of it, it did settle about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So we went back out today and got it back up to grade again. And hopefully it's done settling now, and we don't have to babysit it till the project starts.
Good for you.
So yeah, that was a fun. Well, last week was kind of a butt kicker, but we got through her, and you know, with all that fun stuff, we still found time to replace some knockdown street signs and fill the occasional potholes that have been popping up. That's all I got. If you got any questions.
Any questions from
Nope.
Kyle?
Thank you.
Sean, any questions? Utilities, Matt?
All the water samples came back good again this month. I renewed our AWWA membership. Kyle, Debbie, and I did a MRSC procurement meeting on Zoom. And the mayor went out with us to all the wells and measured the depth of the aquifer. He had like a little handheld tape thing. And so then he had me talk to Bigfoot, so they're getting us quotes on what it would cost to put transducers down there to monitor the level and the temperature and stuff of the aquifer. We had our first frozen meter of the year, so we had to pull that out and thaw it out and got them back in service. And sewer, everything's good.
Any questions for Matt?
What was the depth, Matt?
Butler was 87 feet, Old Park was 45, and New Park was 48.
That's neat to monitor it.
Yeah.
I like that. It's cool.
Then we can see how it fluctuates throughout the
Right.
year. And
Cool.
So Matt, do we have to buy sensors, or do we have to buy like new controllers to add?
we got conduits already set up, so they just send them down that.
Cool.
We'll have it hooked up to telemetry so we can see it from the computer. Be a cool tool to have, and I think beneficial that you can
Yeah.
I think
see what the
so.
aquifer's doing.
Neat.
Okay. Planning. Does anyone have? Brian, you want to read through Amanda's notes? Or I can.
It's there. I did wanna make one comment on her, on the first one. The next planning commission meeting on the 29th is going to be, doing the periodic update. And this is going to be a visioning and community visioning and goals meeting. So really wanna encourage, citizens to come out and give their opinions of, periodic update things. So she's gonna be, we'll be advertising it on the website and all of that, but I wanted to just make a comment here. If he's talking to people, you may mention it to them, show up to the next planning commission meeting, and we'd like to get a lot of people here if we could.
I had a question, Mr. Worst. 423 East Trent.
10-4-2, yes.
Yes. Is that a permit application? I thought that was,
It's a mixture of code enforcement and permit application. The city's been presented with a a business licensing permit request. But under the current circumstances with non-compliance with the city code, the permit request specifically required the city planner to identify that the property was in compliance with all local and state land use laws. And Amanda couldn't sign off on that. So that's been part of our discussion with the property owner and the code enforcement. I'll just kind of bleed into the legal report a little bit with that. Property owner has retained professional services, both legal as well as architect. The architect's been in touch with Amanda to get have the city planner communicate all of the Title 17 legal requirements to come into compliance, which those communications have gone back and forth the past couple weeks. I'm gonna read between the lines on Lisa's statement about some have been moving along and some have been moving slowly along. This one's been moving slowly along. There's a number of different code issues at that property that have, for lack of a better term, accumulated over time. And we are trying to work through without having to go through the court filing and legal route to do that. The council has approved litigation. We've not moved forward with that yet. I did get a copy of a revised voluntary compliance agreement draft from the property owner's legal counsel. It's under review. It's probably not quite there in terms of having a form of agreement that I could bring forward to the city for council for approval. But we're moving along slowly on that one.
This is code enforcement that's been how long?
At various points in time, maybe a decade.
I would hate to create a precedent.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
I think I'll keep my comments to that.
No, understood. There was, the code enforcement issues have been pursued and then they dropped off for a period of time for various reasons. And so I would agree with you. While the city is patient with its code enforcement efforts, this is an act of abundance of patience and, yeah.
Do we still have a code enforcement across from Safeway? Is that a code enforcement issue? We're actively pursuing that.
Yeah.
Let's not create precedents.
Yeah, the longer they languish, the more other opportunities arise for code
Yes.
violations.
Yes.
Understood. Yeah, appreciate it.
I guess, is that legal report in full, or are there other items?
You want me to slow you down too? No, there is really nothing more to report. Appreciate the council's actions on the resolutions and the ordinance tonight. Those were good vigorous discussions and appreciate bringing it closure. So, don't have anything else to really talk about from the legal standpoint.
Okay.
Okay.
That takes us to mayor's report. Kevin is not here, so there's no mayor's report. Council information, no action or discussion. You have the Spokane County Sheriff's Office intelligence report for December. Kevin had, I think, did Kevin put in the flyers for the traffic camera used by local governments for review? And then MRSC running for local office. Filing week is coming up May 5th through May 9th. So we have a couple of seats opening up this year. So.
Position 1, position 2, and the mayor's position are the 3 openings for election.
I have a question for the council. So I like that we have sheriff presence. Will it say Millwood on the vehicle?
Yes, so they're getting Millwood livery for the sheriff's deputy's vehicle.
Right across the windshield.
When will that happen?
I don't think there's a time set, but it's supposed to happen in the next couple of months.
Okay, I'd like a time frame.
I'll ask Trevor next time he's back.
That'd be perfect.
Well, it's a little cold to put stuff on it. All right.
You can go inside a warehouse, can't you? Didn't I just tell you there's always
Maybe they can,
solutions?
maybe they can't. I
There
don't
are
know.
always solutions. coming up with problems.
I don't know how this works, man.
Okay, so Kelly, we'll find out about the timeline on getting the library card.
I know there was an issue with the digitizing of our logo,
Oh.
and I don't know if that's been resolved.
So I don't wanna go logo.
That's been an issue for a while, yeah, that,
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, we, in terms, we may have to do some,
Image-based.
or some recreation of the city's logo in some fashion, the way it was saved and maintained, yeah, that's a
Doesn't
good recall
scale.
on that, yeah.
Let's not revisit logo.
Yeah.
So, all right, thank you very much. I
Yep, yep.
appreciate it.
This brings us to public remarks. Public remarks are an opportunity for citizens to address the council, either in person or by submitting their remarks to remarks@millwoodlaw.us. We ask that in-person speakers limit themselves to 2 minutes and follow the citizen participation guidelines policy as posted on the Millwood City website or available at City Hall. Do we have anybody that's signed up tonight for public comments?
Tina says no. She's my checker. She checks for me.
She
Yeah,
checked,
She's my
okay.
checker.
Okay.
Does anybody want to make public comments tonight? Going once? Yes. Please approach the podium and state your address.
LaDonna DeMint, almost forgot where I lived, 10306 East Empire. Well, first off, just when you guys were talking about the logo again, can't the logo that you already have though be just made to be digitalized?
Yes.
That's what we're looking. Okay, I missed it what you guys were talking about, so I just want to make sure. Another thing, maybe you guys heard already, but Doug Sadler, who's coming a lot, has passed away.
What?
Yeah, I just heard it. I think Todd DC knew. He kind of let a couple people know, but I only knew today when because I'd sent an email or yesterday, and I never heard back from him. And then one of his family members, I assume, let me know that he had passed away on February 2nd. So I know it was a shock because we didn't know he was sick, and maybe he wasn't. It just happened. So, don't have any other information, but it's very sad because he's like very involved. Was very involved and he was kind of heading up our little group, so sad. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public remarks? Going once, going twice, 3 times? Okay. Next, that brings us to council remarks. Let's go around the horn. Kelly?
Thank you, staff. Sounds you've done lots and lots of work, so thank you very much. Good snow removal. Thank you for your hard work. Counselor, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, nice job tonight.
Thanks, Kelly. Dan?
Comedic relief.
Still on the fence, I get it.
I've got some things from the Spokane Transit on their projects and plans update. There's a neat little brochure. I've got one for everybody. As you know, the STA CEO has retired, and it's been quite a discussion on how to go about filling that position. So now we've got two co-CEOs, both of the directors, the planning and the operations, and that seems to be working very well. This is the January started, and of course now it's February month already, but the committee meetings are going well, the board meeting went well. We had a special meeting last week, because we did have quite a number of discussions on how to go about filling the position, and what the input is from the public. And there was a majority that wanted to just make sure we were reaching out. So we hired a firm that's been very involved with transit around the country, and some of the very top people around. And they interviewed all the board members individually. They interviewed I know the union reps, and I think some others, and they've had a survey go out. They had some public input, and we came up with a preferred candidate profile you know? And then based on that profile, what we thought we wanted that person to do, then they've written a job description. And that should be, the ad should be in the paper soon, but it's nationwide. So we'll see. We're a couple of months to go, and they're going to narrow it down to 3 or 4, 5 maybe. And we've got a subcommittee working on that, and then they will decide what the next steps are. But they will probably bring in a couple of them for everybody to see and talk about, and also the public to be involved a bit. You know, so it's kind of an interesting process, you know, and since the board is pretty diverse, it's been a good process. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, and we don't know what's going on now, of course, with the funding, because we do get a lot of dollars from the various pieces of the federal bureaucracy that funds it, and then also just what happens perhaps online. And there are some steps that we're part of the plan that we've adopted is to have to increase our ambassador program, to have some more writers on board. You know, not all of them, but you know, be rotating around, just to having somebody else there. There are some routes that are a little more rambunctious than others. And then also down at the STA, that is continuing to be an issue. And we used to have, and I forgot what it's called. There's a word. They're not real deputies, but they have authority to retain, to hold on to somebody. You know, and the previous sheriff let that contract go, and that's back on tap. You know, to really be able to have our uniformed security people being able to hold somebody for the police to come. Yeah. So anyway, it's been kind of an interesting last couple of months here. That's it.
Thanks, man. Andy?
I don't have much. Lisa, I got my stuff filled out for you. You might have to put some dates in there because I'm not good at stuff like that. But everybody, thank you for everything you've done. Let's keep moving forward.
Shauna? Ms. Bisi? Yep. All right. Thank you, Shauna. That brings it to me. Thank you, city staff, for everything you do day to day. With Kevin stepping down as mayor, I plan to run for mayor in May. I've been on city council for 17 years, and there's a need for continuity within the city to keep projects going, like the Argonne project. It took many years to get to fruition, and we're finally almost there. So we're just gonna go from there, but I am gonna run for mayor, and look forward to working with city if I'm elected, and if not, I'll remain on city council. So. All right.
So what you're saying is that we're not getting rid of you?
No. One way or another, I'm sticking around.
Very good.
Any announcements? Okay. Set the next meeting for city council. Regular meeting will be March 11th, 2025 at 6 p.m. And that is all of our action items tonight.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We are adjourned.
Perfect.
Thanks, everybody.
I will, need to call in.